Okay, well, hi again, everybody. Welcome back on board on this lovely sunny day. Oh no, wait, it's dark. So I'm just cruising along, talking to myself. So I thought I might as well talk to you lot, amuse myself for whatever I've got, another 20 odd minutes. I'm currently over the middle of the English Channel at the moment, at 5,000 feet, on our way back to Elstree. I'm not going to talk to you for 20 minutes, no panic. You'll go mad if I do that. But rather than the flying video, there's a lot of hysteria at the minute. Anyone in the UK knows, what are we, September the 25th, about Brexit. And no, this is not going to be a political discussion about Brexit. What it is going to be instead is to try and address the problems or the fears people have. And I think the biggest problem we have at the moment is you can't have a sensible conversation with people. If you have one opinion, you can talk to people with the same opinion who will support everything you say. But if you try and talk to somebody on the other side, so a Leaver talking to a Remainer or vice versa, all you get is hysterics. And it's kind of been since Trump came into power that this has been really obvious, and I'm not blaming President Trump, but you have Trump supporters and anti-Trump supporters, and they can't talk to each other. All they do is scream. And I think this is kind of, so that's my music in the background. I think this came about slightly down to the media, and I'm not going to suggest that there's some grand conspiracy, but entertainment news media is exactly that, and it's commercial. They have to make a living. They have to sell advertising space. So to do that, they need viewing figures. To get viewing figures, they have to be entertaining. So if they sit down a whole load of civilized, normal people to have a rational debate about Brexit, it would be really, really boring. Instead, having panelists that scream and shout at each other is much more entertaining. So that's what you get. And, you know, they used to say when I was little, don't believe everything you read in the paper. And now it should very much be the case of don't believe what you read in the paper and don't believe what you see on TV. Go and find your own evidence, find your own facts and believe those. Because what everyone seems to be hysterical about is what happens after we've left. And so I want to liken that to my flying career. So when I was a teenager, I wanted to fly for a living. And the first license that I got was a UK CAA PPL private license for helicopters. If you can't see me in the dark, that's probably a good thing. It's not my good side anyway. The next license that I got was a JAA or JAI. It was a JAR European Commercial License, which was the first iteration of European license. That then changed several years later to an EASA or EASA license. And I'm flying this one on an FAA license. All of these different licenses and license changes came with different forms, different bits of paperwork, different fees, different hoops to jump through, and different bits of flying to do. And my point is, I wanted to fly, so I did all the things that I had to do so that I could fly. And the thing about Brexit that people have to remember, currently, the rules governing what we do in Europe are governed by the European Union. And when we leave the European Union, if we ever do, we will have exactly the same rules the day after we've left as we do the day before. Because until they're actually changed, what's in place will remain the same. So what does that mean for people that want to go and live and work in Europe and people that want to come here? Well, it means absolutely nothing. If you want to go and live and work in France, currently you can move to France, get a job and work there. If after Brexit they change all the rules and regulations, then you'll simply have to do whatever the new rules and regulations are so that you can move to France. It might be more difficult, it might be more expensive, but there will still be a mechanism by which you can go and live in France. If you're an industry and you make a product that you want to sell, or use a product from Europe that you want to buy, currently that's governed by European regulation, which changes every day, by the way. I mean, the aviation side of things, I get about 10 emails a week with regulation changes and notices about this, that and the other. So it's not as if these regulations are all set in stone, they're constantly fluid anyway. But post-Brexit, once we've actually left, if we leave, the rules and regulations will change. But the desire to do business, the desire to buy the product and the desire to sell the product, that's not going to change. So people don't need to be hysterical about not being able to buy medicines or German cars or whatever else. The paperwork involved, the cost of it, that might change, but the desire and the need is not going to change. So that people will jump through various different hoops and bits and pieces that are necessary to do what they want, as they always have done. Now, I don't know about you, but every time I buy anything online, it comes from China. And they manufacture goods to European regulations, and they're imported and pay whatever tariffs are necessary, and away you go. Same with American cars. There are quite large tariffs on cars from America coming into the UK, but we still buy American cars. I actually looked at buying a chainsaw once from America, because the same Husqvarna model of chainsaw was significantly cheaper in America than it is over here. And I think the difference was something to do with emissions. I'm not sure emissions are that relevant when you're cutting down a tree. But that's what it is. And that's why the ones bought in the UK were more expensive, because they met those regulations. So, in terms of what that relates to in Brexit terms, what it means is until people stop being hysterical and listening to the radicals on either side, and actually sit down and have a sensible conversation, we're never going to achieve anything. Now, if you talk to people that run ports and shipping, they say, well, there's not going to be any change, because containers are cleared at the point of departure, and then a handful are inspected when they arrive, and most of them are just sent on their way. And in terms of flying, currently, under EU regulations, because the UK is not part of the Schengen zone, in terms of flying, if I want to fly this helicopter out of UK airspace, I just have done, I have to file a flight plan. When I come back, I have to file a flight plan and a customs declaration. It takes seconds. You Skydemon, hit a couple of buttons, it's done, it's sent, away you go. It takes no effort whatsoever. So the very worst that I can imagine post-Brexit is we might have to file a customs declaration going into Europe. And very worst, you might have to fill out a visa. But if you go to the States, you have to fill out a visa to go to the States. It's just another form you fill in, or it's a visa waiver, I think it is. Just another form you fill in, you pay your $15 or whatever it is, and away you go. You know, it's not a huge drama. You just do it, crack on, and away you go. It doesn't change the fact that you want to go there. So, with that said, my opinion, I'm not going to get political as to whether or not we should be leaving or not, is simply don't listen to the radicals on either side. Don't listen to the media that is simply trying to stir up arguments for entertaining television. If you want to know if it's good, bad or indifferent, go and do the research yourself. There's plenty, Google it. There's plenty of stuff online that you can do. And if somebody comes up to you with a different opinion, listen to them. Don't be frightened because they're not the same as you. And the same goes for the comment section on this video, assuming I'll post anything. If you want to leave a comment, leave a comment. If you want to be offensive, feel free. You're not going to offend me. I'm not going to have to run off into the helicopter and use it as a safe space and have a cry. I'll be quite capable of, surviving whatever comments are written. And that's what we all need to try and do. Whether it's with our neighbours, our family, or wherever the disagreements are, just listen to what people have to say. And listen politely. And hopefully, if you listen politely to them, they'll listen politely to you. And that's the only way you're ever going to reach any compromise. That was kind of all I really wanted to say. It's very apt at the minute with everything that's going on. I had a few minutes to kill whilst I'm flying along. So I thought, say a few words and see what people think. You're wondering where we are? If you can't see it on a rather large new iPad, we're just coming up to the Isle of Wight. That's the lights you can see down in front of us. And just beyond there, seems we're slightly above a bit of a cloud bank. But we can still see the ground, that's fine. No dramas there. And that's the English coast. My lads say English. That's the British coast in front of us over there. Those bright lights just left the nose will be Portsmouth. And once we get up to there, we're dropping down a little bit, heading up past Farnborough and into Elstree. And if it looks particularly pretty, I might put the camera back on again. You can have a look at the landing at Elstree. If not, this was me with a non-political Brexit discussion, which was completely uninformative. But hey, you know, that's no different to any other discussion on Brexit. So for now, good evening.